checking for brake rub.
Tour race in Murrieta, California. Got the gig. Ernie Sanchez.
Well, it's Avery. Welcome to the channel. Today I've got a treat for you. This is the 2025 Tour de Murrieta. It's an omnium, which consists of two races. This is the Grand Prix, which is a crit on Saturday, and then followed by a circuit race on Sunday. This is probably my favorite race weekend of the year. I love that the city of Murrieta puts on this race or supports this race. And then also I did quite well in this last year. Ended up fourth overall, which was awesome. So coming to this, I had high hopes. Not really as high expectations just because of where my fitness is this year. If you've watched any of my videos, you'll notice that this course looks a little different because it has more than 4 turns. This is a 6-corner crit, and the main feature of this course is that if you look at the screen, it basically goes downhill towards the bottom and then back uphill towards the top. So it's a long uphill finish. And then this section of the course is downhill. So you can see we get up above 30 miles per hour before going into a couple left-handers. Overall, the pavement is great on this course, so not an issue. The only thing is that there are some bricks in these turns. So you can see here, we're about to go over them. Not too bad, but it did have a little sketchy moment later, which I'll show you in a bit. So you make this left-hander into the finishing straight, and then this is uphill. So you can see everybody stomping on the pedals to move up. And it's quite a long straightaway. So you can see how long it takes us to get to the finishing line here. The wind is coming from the left-hand side of the screen to the right. So generally, I like to be on the right-hand side of the course here. It's much easier to move up because you're protected from the wind. So that's one lap. This is a few laps later, coming into that brick section. I almost lose it, my front tire right here. And it kind of freaked me out, so dropped back and checked that my tire wasn't flat. Took this turn really easy. Once I felt like my tire was fine, I had to punch it pretty hard to reconnect with the group. But rather be safe than sorry. So jumping ahead to about 20 minutes left in the race, I'm caught out on the outside here. So I have to put in some effort because I'm not protected from the wind. And for whatever reason, I decide why not go off the front, see if anybody will follow me. Not exactly sure why I decided to do this, but at the time I thought it'd be fun. See if we could get a little breakaway going. This guy was already kind of off the front, so I followed him a bit. I get past him, and he mentions that he wasn't going to pull, which I didn't really care about because I was trying to get other people to come along with me. Don't really quite understand, though, why he didn't want to pull. Not like there were many teams in this field, and I felt like with the wind and the dynamics of this course, a breakaway could stick, so why not put in some effort here. Anyway, I'll fast forward a bit just because not that exciting to see me by myself riding around this course. So speeding ahead, going through the turns. When we come back to the finishing straight, the guy goes around me. I didn't realize this was a preem lap, so he ends up taking the preem. I probably should have paid attention because, could have won something there maybe if I played that better. This third guy joins us, so I was thinking, maybe we can get away, but the field catches us right here at the starting straight, and another move ends up jumping up the road. And this was quite threatening very late in the race. However, I'm kind of tired from my effort, so I'm not going to be able to do much to help pull it back. So just kind of hope that the field can bring it back. In retrospect, don't know if going off the front was the best move. You know, I probably should have just stayed in the pack and conserved energy, but you never know. Maybe if I didn't do that, then this counter move wouldn't have gone. This move did end up breaking up the field a bit. Some people ended up getting dropped during this chase effort. So who knows? Maybe if I didn't go off the front, this move wouldn't have went, and then the race might have gone completely differently. So you never know. Just gotta live and learn, try new things. So we're in this chase group. You can see the field, the breakaway is actually pretty far ahead at this point, and yeah, my heart rate was 170. I was not in a position to work that hard to try to bring this back. So I was just hoping that other people were motivated to bring it back. There weren't that many teams in the field, so it wasn't really a concern that, you know, there were going to be people soft pedaling at the front or whatever. So. I think I end up in the front again here, which is not a good sign if I'm the one trying to bring this back after the effort I just did. I think luckily some other people pull through. I got to punch it again to stay on these guys' wheels. I think this is where the field kind of fell apart a bit. So jumping ahead with about 2 laps to go, somehow we actually end up catching this group. So yeah, so here we are. We end up actually catching the folks off the front. And I remember my side was cramping pretty bad, but I knew we only had about 2 laps to go. So just had to dig deep and stay with it. Yeah, my heart rate's 177 here. I think my max is generally around 180, so hurting pretty bad. You can see the breakaway is very close at this point, and it's just a matter of time before we reconnect. So it's at these moments I don't want any gaps to form because I don't want to get dropped this late in the race. So if I see somebody not hanging off, I'm just going to put in a little effort to reconnect and just surf whatever wheels seem like they're making progress back up towards the front of the race. Turning into the final straightaway. Going up this hill for the second to last time, thankfully. The field's all bunched up back together, going into 1 lap to go. So at this point, my thought is I want to just get towards the front of the race. With the turns and with the wind, I wasn't sure how cohesive the field would be going into the final sprint, so I wanted to be up towards the front, just so I had the best chance at a decent finish. see there's a couple guys that actually jumped up the road. They've got a few second gap on us. But I'm in decent position here, probably top 10 wheels. Little gap starting to form in this sort of tailwind section. Take the inside line to move up a bit. Yeah, the front of the race started to fall apart here. And obviously you're going like 30 miles per hour, so you can't look behind you to see what's happening. So I just follow this guy, hope for the best. So make the final turn, and I just decided to start sprinting as hard as I can. It's a long finish, but I didn't really see many other options, so just put my head down as well as I could. At this point, I saw I was top 4, so I was pretty excited about that. I thought I had the chance at a pretty good finish. However, these guys come out of nowhere and go right past me. So, and then this guy pips me at the line. So I ended up in 7th place, which was 8th overall in the GC. So yeah, not too bad.
All right, getting ready to race in a few minutes. It's gonna be almost 40-mile race. Last time I did one of these, I dropped out halfway through, so we'll see how this one goes. In 8th place in the GC, need to get top 5 for money, so that'll be the goal.
And we're picking up action in the circuit race with about 1 lap to go. Those that watch my channel know that my GoPro only lasts about 40 minutes, so I was able to luckily catch the end of the race. Much different today. As you can see, that final turn going into the finishing straight, it's very short, so it's very important being towards the front going into that last turn, since it's a very short sprint to the finish. This is a very bumpy section of the course, so not really any good place to be here. Much bigger field today. It seems like a lot of people decided to do the circuit race and skip the criterium on Saturday. If you look at the course map, it basically looks like just a bigger version of the previous day's race. Unfortunately, this year they cut out a few extra turns that were there in previous editions because I guess a bridge that we go over was out of commission. Interestingly enough, for the Pro 1-2 field, they actually add in 4 more turns. So that's kind of cool for them. I wish we had more turns because this ended up, I wouldn't say being a boring course, but not as exciting as when there's more turns. The whole field's together at this point. Not too much activity. People take the GC pretty seriously because, as I mentioned, top 5 get money, so everybody's watching the top GC people, and what that did for our field is just kept everything together because, like I mentioned earlier, there's not that many teams in the field, so yeah, not much motivation to get a breakaway going. So a really cool course though. Even though they cut some turns out, it's still really nice to have a circuit race. We don't get too many of these in Southern California. The course is about 4 miles long, so we were doing the laps in roughly 8 to 9 minutes. Certain parts of the course have a center line rule and certain parts don't, so the whole way so far that you've seen, we're allowed to use the whole road. But going into this right-hander, we have to stay in 1 lane. It made things a little difficult this year because the center line isn't actually painted on part of the road. So you'll see that coming up. So position's important here. So far in this race, you can see my heart rate's below 140, zone 2, even though we're an hour and a half into this race. It really wasn't very difficult. There was only one point about halfway through the race that one of the top GC guys decided to push the pace, and it was a difficult lap, but everybody was able to hang on, so I think that kind of demotivated anybody from really trying to make a move happen off the front. So with that short finishing straight, my thought was I just need to be towards the front when we get into that little sketchy moment on the left there. I don't really understand sometimes, like, we're not even that tight of a bunch here, and I don't know, somehow that guy kind of lost it and almost took out the guy next to him. But I guess that's what happens when it's late in the race and people are trying to move up. Pace picks up a bit here. So the course is pretty flat, but when we go into this last turn, there's a few hills. So that comes into play a bit. You can see here there's no painted center line, so a few times the officials on the moto came up to people and told them to stay right. But in their defense, it's kind of hard to know exactly how far to the right you have to stay. Murrieta, or at least this section Murrieta, is not very populated, so very empty roads. I don't think we saw a single car coming the other direction the whole race, so really nice course. So you take this right-hander, there's a little uphill section, and then immediately into a downhill. So people start to push it here a bit, so I go along for the ride. Go into this small descent, carry some speed. So with these courses where there's downhills to uphills, the back always carries more momentum and the front starts to bunch up. So you don't, or at least I didn't want to move up all the way to the front. So you got to kind of use your momentum to move up and not too much, because you don't want to get up front and then get swarmed to get pushed out the back. So into the next downhill section. I'm in decent position at this point. So if you look on the right, this guy's tire starts spraying sealant everywhere, and I start freaking out. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have freaked out so much. I was just worried that, his tire, he was gonna lose it in the next corner and take people out. But I shouldn't have worried about it. Just stayed on the inside. So if he did fall, I would, he wouldn't slide into me. Should have just focused on being in position and not worried about what other people were doing. But I guess he keeps going on the left, stay on the right. People start to push it at the front. I motivate my buddy here to bring us forward into the race. So getting ready for this last turn, I'm pretty far towards the front, so I felt like I was in good position. Take this turn. Speeds are picking up. Following wheels. So this guy right in front of me, he's in second place in the GC. He got second yesterday. So I think he's a good wheel to stay on. So I try to follow him. Unfortunately, I don't keep his wheel, and I start to get swarmed a bit. I'm pretty sure that's the guy with the flat tire who just blasted by on the right. Guess that's the miracle of tubeless tires. So anyway, I'm in not good position at this point after getting swarmed and going to the final corner. I pull the brake a bit because of this guy on the inside. I don't know why, and just try to sprint, but it's a short finishing straight and really not much I could do. So ended up in 14th place, which actually bumped me up to 7th overall in the GC. So not too bad. And with this 7th place finish in the GC and the 7th place yesterday, that gave me 2 upgrade points, which is enough now that I can voluntarily move up to Cat 2. Not going to do that this year just because of, where my fitness is. I can't even top 10 these races where I got top 5 in both of them last year. But it's exciting. Maybe next year I'll have that as a goal to move up to Cat 2. So I'll leave you here with my post-race commentary.
All right. I don't feel that bad.